Here we go. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of Purple Hyacinth, Laconic Less. And I actually had to look up the word laconic. It means apparently someone who doesn't talk a lot, like who keeps their words terse and brief.
Nice.
So, yeah. And we're here with Bundin and Firedancer. And Bundin's going to start us off.
Great. Okay, so after we passed the title in episode 19, we cut to a scene of a starry night in a forest, and then cuts to some lights in the cave. So we can obviously tell this is Kieran's cave. Lauren is typing away at a typewriter at candlelight with some notes around her. And Kieran is staring at like a murder board with a bunch of red string in it. And he's spinning around. I can never remember those knives. Like it's like a ninja knife or something. I can't remember what it's called. I feel bad.
So should we be paying attention to like the typewriter company name? Underwood?
Underwood. Okay, maybe that will
Underwood.
come in later. As we've seen, because me and Mindy were talking about this, things that I mentioned earlier come back sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I just want to say a little thing about things coming back. I noticed this is probably something that's never going to be brought up again, and it's perfectly fine. Like in the panel where he's looking at the murder board and it's the red lines, and you can see McTrevor's face in the like upper left-hand corner on the newspaper. There's a one right next to him. It's a picture of a girl, and I don't know. I'm just kind of like, is that a callback to the prostitution ring? I don't know.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
That could be something. Also, I just realized something staring at this panel. Kieran's spinning the thing around. He's got a glove on one hand, but his other hand is hair, and he doesn't have a glove on the other hand.
Oh yeah, he doesn't.
Oh my.
Interesting. Also, I think you see the picture on the bottom right on his murder board. Isn't
Yeah,
that
the
the
white-
person that he murdered on the first night?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Grayson and De La Rocca, I
Yeah,
think.
De La Rocca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
And then, yeah, as we look through the board, because they show like parts of it more, we see Allendale train station tragedy and day of, we can assume it says tragedy, and some of the pictures that we've seen of the victims, the person with the carved chest, etc. Then it cuts to Kieran looking at the board, and he says, "We need to act quickly before the other buffoons hear about McTrevorh and realize they're next."
He has
The
two gloves here.
detectives, yeah. He has two gloves now. He slipped one on quickly. The detectives still don't suspect you. And then Lauren says, "No, I took all the necessary precautions." And he turns and walks up behind her and says, "You know, it's never too late to change vocations. You'd make a hell of a good criminal if you wanted." And she's busy filing stuff, and he's putting down some more forms next to her. And she says, "Coming from the greatest assassin in the city, I'm not sure if I should be flattered or scared." And then he gets that cheeky grin again, and he's like, "Is that praise perchance? My officer, my heart is all aflutter." And then she says, "I'd happily stop it for you." The banter.
I love it. Also,
So people,
Mhm.
we could focus on the fact that he wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I do think that when he's sarcastic, it doesn't show up.
Yeah.
But let's
true.
just push that aside. His
Just gonna
heart is
ignore that fact.
he is fluttering inside. I love it.
I mean, listen, with the pretty lady such as Lauren, she could make anyone's heart flutter.
And he's wearing, as we kind of mentioned this before, he's wearing his black shirt that's a little open in the front.
Yes. I would just say, I think it's a
little bit of
navy,
cleavage.
a little, just a bit. Also, I will just say, I'm pretty sure it's a navy shirt, but like, it works so good with his color scheme, like his eyes and his hair. It's all cool toned, and this is my favorite outfit of his out of anything.
Your boy looks good in blue.
He
Like,
does. Like, listen, he looks good in red, but like blue, it's on another level.
well, we know we also like him when he's like
Not
all
wearing
dressed
anything?
up,
Sorry.
but that's not. Oh well, not wearing anything.
Well,
but we also like when he's all dapper. But that's not for this episode, is it? Well, not yet.
yes.
Okay.
But, yeah. We're all simps here.
Yes. Welcome
Yeah.
back to the simp show.
We love the banter, and I just love the fact that like they've already gotten into this rhythm, even though they've only known each other for, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, like 2 weeks, let's say, because they needed the time to plan the first thing with 𝗦𝘃𝗏𝗏, do all of that, go to his house. The banter there was wonderful, and then to come and do this, so let's say maybe 2 weeks, and they already have this interactions that they have with each other. I just love it. But okay, let's move on. So she says, yeah, she'll stop his heart because Lauren is a heart stopper and we love her.
Aw, that's a good way of putting it.
And she says, so with all the evidence you gathered and the papers from 𝗦𝘃𝗏𝗏, I think we have everything we need on Harry Anslow. Then he looks back at the board and says, I'm also looking into Ryan Fleming's. He's been traveling outside Ardhalis for a while, but he works at the bank and has a side gig altering and erasing traces of illegal transactions. And he says this as he's pinning a form to the board, including one from 𝗦𝘃𝗏𝗏's fake company. And then Lauren says, the front for the weapons operation. And then she turns back to him and says, so what's the plan this time? And Kieran says, I've been following Anslow the past few days. He'll be at the Golden Clover tomorrow night at 10 p.m. per his routine. I'll search his house before meeting you there. Just relaying information. And then Lauren says, Herman is stubborn and convinced he knows best. He'll be sure to get there ahead of time and ambush us if we try to tell him when and where to arrest someone again. And then Kieran says, his arrogance is our best option. He thinks we're stupid enough to use the exact same strategy twice. Perfect. We'll send him the wrong address. God, I'm smirking again.
Oh, that smirk. Classic.
And then Kieran continues saying, I'll leave a second letter there with the actual instructions on where to arrest Anslow. Their little detour will give us plenty of time to kidnap and question him. Then Lauren turns to him shocked and says, kidnap him? And Kieran turns back to her and is still looking cocky as ever and says, oh, come on, officer. You were okay with tying 𝗦𝘃𝗏𝗏 up. Why is it different when he's not in his house? It's not like we're going to dismember him, probably.
Sir, what are you planning?
Expression is adorable.
Also, he looks so just, I don't know, just allow me to simp for this panel for a second.
Which one?
The whole body shot.
Yes, the whole body shot where it's like the way it's drawn is immaculate, and like the way I love the way Sophism does like clothing folds. It just looks so like it just hangs off them and it looks so nice. It just looks so nice here, and just
like the fact that the back of his shirt is kind of untucked a little bit and hanging over, like just a little detail like that, like
it makes it all the better, and just
He has a little bit of a round bottom, you know. I know we debate this in the fandom.
They say he has a flat ass. They are wrong. This man does parkour. This man is physically fit. There's no way he could do all those things if he didn't have a booty.
Like I have said this
He's just
once.
modest. He wears pants that de-emphasize it because he doesn't want everyone to lust after him all the time.
Yes, he wears looser pants, and I have said it once, and I will continue to say this until the day I die. Kieran has a dancer body, and just look at him. Tell me that
you're a dancer. You would know.
Okay, as a dancer,
oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. That's why your name is Firedancer. I did not know that. What kind of dance do you do?
Ballet. I do ballet and some jazz and modern.
That's so cool. I used to do a little bit of hip hop. Very, very amateur.
Nice. Yeah, I love hip hop. I just can't do it.
Yeah. I just tried to show you. I have a music video with me doing some modern dance in my living room. It's hilarious.
Hey.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, he does have a dancer's body.
He does, and
he's very elegant.
Yes, he's very he has a grace about him. It's the posture. It is the posture about him, and he just has an era of sort of like elegance and grace about him. And since he does have the dancer body, therefore he has the cake.
Amen. Praise be to the cake.
Mhm. All right. Enough of my simpery.
Yes, we all love him. The next panel too, he just looks so cute. He's just like, we just need a quiet place where you can use your psychic powers to scare the devil out of him.
Simple.
I've got hands too. Oh, but yeah, off topic.
What's that
Then-
face of Lauren's? Do you think Lauren's appreciating him too? Is
Lauren's
that kind of looks like the dumbstruck face we make when we're like staring.
I'm not gonna lie, I think she looks a little unimpressed, but what's new with her?
I mean, yeah. Permanent stone cold face for Lauren.
Then she turns back to her typewriter and continues typing and says, sorry, but you'll be the one asking the questions this time. If we're supposed to pass for two men, I can't talk. My voice will give me away. I'll make you a sign whenever he lies. Yeah.
Oh, well, I think it's about time they have some sort of strategy. I mean, last time was a bit of a mess.
Just a little. I'm glad they're at least trying to get it a little more together. Whether
Books were thrown, faces were lightly stabbed.
Insults were thrown.
Coordinates were made to feel inadequate.
Interrogees were felt awkward. Okay.
Yeah. So I think she's smiling, the smile on her face. I think it's because he praised her. I think she's finally happy that somebody is believing in her powers instead of belittling her powers and not believing her. And he's like, oh, not only does he believe her, he's like, let's use your powers. Like, we can use your amazing powers. So I think that's why she's smiling.
Yeah, this is the first time, like, in the series so far that we've seen someone acknowledge and praise her powers, because last time, even her uncle, who I'm pretty sure knows or should know about it, dismissed her and what she said in before they made the deal, the riot that they had in the square. So yeah, I think that carrying just a little bit of praise makes her get a little bit of a big head, but she deserves it. Yeah. She's a queen.
Yeah, I think because I think the only person we've ever seen in the series besides Kieran like have more than just kind of condemn her ability is I think Kim. But even then she can't really praise her for it because like she doesn't see what she does with it really. All she knows is that it's kind of gotten her into trouble. So I don't know.
Yeah, so that was my third done.
I forgot. Am I taking over here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so Kieran asks her now, I wonder how exactly do you tell when somebody lies? At first I thought you had a particularly useful talent, but this is some eerie paranormal human accuracy. And I also noticed, I think he wears his pants pretty high up. Did you guys notice that? Like,
yeah, I was gonna mention that earlier, but it's just like the way that the pants sit probably just below or at kind of his natural waist. So it really does a lot to like elongate his legs.
Yeah.
Make his chest look a bit more broad. I don't know. He's wearing a well-proportioned outfit. Like the sleeves are cuffed at like the belt, so it just looks. This is a well put together outfit. 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, and just.
He just looks good. One other thing I noticed about this panel as well, though, is the fact that he's like one of the only things that's in focus in it. Everything else is pretty blurry, so that really does have us focus on him more. And just, I don't know, I just thought it was really well composed in terms of like the focus and the rendering of it. So again, well done. So.
Right. And we're looking through like kind of Lauren's chin. So it's just also like another element of interest.
And then we also know that when he first met her, he kind of thought not so much she had like an ability that was more like kind of, as he said, paranormal or like magical of sorts. He kind of just thought it was a skill that she developed or it's some sort of talent that she had. But now it's kind of just like, this doesn't seem like a talent anymore. This just seems like something's going on here. I don't know.
Yeah, because he saw her use it, like properly use it when they interrogated 𝗵𝗏𝗏 last time. So he saw how freakishly accurate he was. So like now I think he's just a bit more curious about exactly how it works, seeing as how effective it was.
Mhm.
So yeah, interesting. He wants to know more about her.
Yeah, exactly. It's not banter, it's not teasing her, it's genuine communication, genuine connection. Respectful communication.
One of the few moments of actual functioning communication they have.
Yeah, so Lauren kind of goes wide-eyed, doesn't say much. He says, "Who taught you?" And she freezes. And she says, "Nobody. I've always had this ability." And her hand tightens here. I'm not quite sure why. I wonder if it's something that we haven't gotten, like, no, we don't know yet, even where we are now, we're like 94, 90, whatever. I wonder if there's like a background that we just haven't heard. Like that's a reason that she's so anxious about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I wonder as well, because she, I think, is hesitant to kind of talk to him about the ability and how it works specifically, because she might not know exactly how it works, but she probably has some idea, or we just don't know everything. So I just think how I read this is that she's just trying to keep it like, she doesn't really understand it that much herself and doesn't really want to talk about it to him. Because again, this is just a working relationship.
Maybe it's like a sore point for her, and that like she always had to struggle with people not believing her and the whole thing. So maybe that's just also a reason for her tension.
Yeah.
True.
So anyway, she said, then he continues, he says, "But how does it work, officer lie detector?" And she continues typing, and she just says, "I just know, that's all." Oh, Kieran says, "Don't be so shy, darling." Also not a lie. She says, "Darling."
His face in this one.
Oh, the neck.
Your explanation is eagerly awaited. And again, that's also true. He really is eagerly awaiting her explanation.
Yes. It could be a hint of sarcasm as well. And they're like, he could just be overly exaggerating it, but he is genuinely curious.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it, but it works and it's never failed me. And he just looks.
One thing I noticed is that we've heard Lauren lie about things before, but it doesn't show up for us as lies from her. Yeah. It's only when she hears other people. So one of the things is that we can't often tell when Lauren is lying unless it's made really clear to us, like either through flashbacks or like seeing her internal monologue or seeing other characters talk about her. So like, we don't know if that's a lie or not. And I think it's really interesting just to see how, like, just to kind of wonder, because she is one of the only characters who, even though we're in her head, we don't know everything about her. And I think that's just really interesting as well.
Yeah, because
reliable narrator.
Yeah, because Lauren as herself, she keeps a lot of people in the dark, but since we can never see her lie, she also keeps the readers constantly in the dark as well, just purely about herself, which is very interesting.
Yep, definitely a big theme here. Mm-hmm. And she kind of wants to avoid conversation because she gets up, says, "Let's finish up this file and get out of here," gathers together the papers, and she says, "Your cave is cold and wet and it stinks." And Kieran's like, "Excuse you." Totally sensitive about his stuff. Mm-hmm. He definitely has an aesthetic eye, and I'm sure he puts some effort into the cave.
Look at it. There's flooring on there, even though it's full of it's half full of water behind a waterfall. There's like lights, there's equipment. I think there is a bed in there as well.
Yeah.
From, like when they first get there, don't know if I'm remembering that clearly.
Yeah, it's a bed.
There's a fighting area, weapons.
Dude, there's a chandelier on it. Like,
yeah.
I still want to know how he put all the furniture in there, but like
with hard
who
work.
helped him?
Honestly,
he did it himself. He did it himself. We know he has no friends.
He has no friends.
Like Bob's delivery, come bring it.
I'm picturing they're getting delivered. He's just like, "Thank you." Just seeing him like carrying all these boxes into the woods.
Just deliver it to so and so at the edge of Ardhalis, please. And it's just like, "Sir, there's nothing here." Yes, that's the point.
Yes, I'm building a cabin.
I'm building a cabin in the woods of sorts. Meanwhile, Kieran, "Don't insult my bat cave, excuse you."
It is the bat cave.
It is.
Only friends, the bats. Oh dear. So now we switch scenes, and we have I like the coloring here. We have, the the buildings are all in blue. It's a lot of very beautiful, fancy buildings. And then we have people and a lot of yellow lights. It's a really pretty scene. And we also have leaves falling down. And there's a masked and hooded figure on the corner. We have a bunch of fancy people. It's passing by, well-dressed people. It looks like it's a nicer part of town. And again, we see the hooded figure and we see someone stepping closer towards her. And the hooded figure smiles. That's a smirk. And then we see Kieran dressed spiffily, lifting up his hat like a polite gentleman, says, "Good evening, officer. Are ready for our date?"
And we just get like a full, like, I don't think it was intended to be fan service, but we got it. I will interpret it as such. We got a full fan service sweep head to toe of him in his like tux with his waistcoat and a pocket watch and a cane and the white ribbon in his hair again and a top hat.
Bruh, the man looking dapper as hell. And just also, might I just say, this outfit really emphasizes like his long legs, and it is immaculate. I love it.
It does.
Slender.
A man in a suit.
Oh, get you a man that looks this good in a suit.
Yes, Leanne Hera is great. Lauren does not appreciate this because she just rolls her eyes. She just fails to see the magnificence before her.
Poor man's never appreciated for his efforts.
Well, she is the blindest of all, so.
Very true.
I forgot where I was supposed to stop.
She's rolling her eyes, and then I think you just read it for a little bit, and then this next panel is the last one for you.
So she says, "Did you find anything at Anslau's?" And he says, "Not much, unfortunately. He's not as stupid as McTrevor. He knows better than to hide traces of his operation in his office." And you can take over.
All right. And then you have Lauren starting to walk away into the crowd and say, "Let's hurry then. We don't have a lot of time before the police get here." And then you see him grabbing her arm. You say, "Oh."
Sorry.
You say, "Oh," and then you see the next panel. His face is just like a dirt face.
Whatever, okay? Like,
Damn it, Kieran.
details.
Just the face of, "Are you serious right now?" And he says, "Hold on, officer. Are you trying to scare all the
Bourgeois.
Thank you. Are you trying to scare all of the bourgeois here out of their overpriced drinks and mingling? The theme of the night is rich merchants with inflated egos, not stern-looking alleyway assassins."
And he's referring to her, by the way, not him, because he's got the look down.
Yes, he does.
Like, dang.
He already has the inflated ego. You just have to get the rich merchant part.
Oh, no, yeah. This is not hard for him.
No, they each have what each other needs. He has the ego, she has the rich. It's all good. And then she just looks him up and down and is just like, yes, allow me. And it's like, "You're perfectly correct. I almost forgot," with the most smug smirk on her face. And she pulls down her hood and bam, like the look, the whole aesthetic. I am in awe.
Mood.
Yes,
it is.
It is.
Oh, it's like, you know, that one meme with Lady Gaga. She's like, talented, brilliant, show-stopping, spectacular. That's us looking at Lauren right now. We don't often simp for Lauren.
Yeah.
But let's take a moment. This outfit is everything. The wig, the black bob, the little mole, the makeup. It's kind of a cross between like a flapper, but also like a modern dress as well, with that like jewel encrusted like corset thing, the plunging V.
Yeah, she's like a cross between a flapper dancer and a tango dancer, and it is. Yes, I'm loving everything about this.
That little crown thing she has, tiara, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but I want one.
Goes perfectly with her eyes, and it is chef's kiss.
The little thigh exposed and slit of her dress.
Oh my god, she's like showing it to him too.
I don't know if she's doing it intentionally. I think she was just kind of like, you know, that scene in Anastasia, the grandma. It's me.
Yes, I know that one. And Dimitri's like,
oh god.
Yeah, but this is like the version of it where it's well executed and everybody falls in love. including Kieran.
Oh yeah.
Look at his
Like,
face.
Oh, like, bruh, I'm in awe. He's in awe. Everyone is in awe. Like, you go down to the next panel and you just see he is, I would say he caught his breath at that, because you actually see like genuine shock on his face, where it's also, might I just take a second, how blue his eyes are.
Oh,
It is beautiful.
It's the golden lights. They
Mhm.
shine in his eyes.
love it.
Mm.
I love blue eyes. Not
Mhm.
biased at all. I have blue eyes. My husband has blue eyes. My mother has brown eyes, and she has an obsession with blue eyes, and she totally passed it down. So.
Hey. Indeed. And then at this, he's just like, oh. And then like he pauses for a second and he's like, I see you came in style. Might not be very practical if things get heated in there though.
On himself, like he went from like he had that moment of awe, and then he just goes back to being snarky. Like he gives a little compliment, like but it's not personal. Like he's not ready yet to show his cards. You know, he still has to maintain that flippant, sarcastic exterior.
Yes.
Nah. He'll give credit where it's due, but he's still gotta maintain. And then after he says that, she just lifts up the side of her skirt and just reveals she's got at least one knife and a gun underneath there. And then she says, don't worry, I brought some friends to help me out. So she is armed to the teeth. And
strapped to her thigh to like, girl really just hiked up her skirt to like her hip to show that.
I'm like, girl, you are breaking all types of codes and I love it. And then she just says with confidence, let's go now, shall we? And then he just looks at her for a second.
Can I take a second to talk about this look? This is I've said this before. I wrote a whole thing about this, but there are times in the series where we can glean a lot from him and what he's feeling, and a lot of them is when Lauren surprises him. So like, and it's not like the pleasant surprise as well, but also like the genuine like not knowing what to do as well. It's like you said, at first he was like, oh, like, and he made the joke even though he was clearly shook for like a second, but then she did that thing, kind of had him shook again, and now he's kind of just staring at her, like he's almost like you can see him trying to like evaluate her in his head almost, like because he was pleasantly surprised, and now he's genuinely just like wondering like what is like this girl, like just like I love that, perplexed. I just really enjoyed it.
I think he's used to being always like the most smart one, the most competent one, the most capable one. And she's growing in his respect, because every time she shows him an aspect about herself that he can respect, that, matches him. And I think that's like over time he's growing to respect her more and see her as an equal, which before that he viewed her as the subordinate in his eyes.
But we're beginning to realize that maybe she's got a bit of the brains, a bit more of the brains in the operation. Not to say that he doesn't, he contributes a lot that she can't. But true. Your girl is smart.
Okay, and then after he's had his moment to assess, he gives a smirk and then a chuckle, and then walks out and says, under the streetlights, wonderful. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
There he is, the devil in the pale moonlight.
And the Joker quote, because I know you don't know much about quote? Batman, but yeah, that quote is specifically used I don't know if it's in the comics specifically, but I do know that it's in like the 1988 or 99? The first Batman movie that's by Tim Burton, and it's the Jack Nicholson Joker. And he says something about dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight, which they make a lot of references to Batman in Purple Hyacinth. And when I read this, I was like, ooh, the Joker Batman reference is interesting.
Yes, that's one of the many references they will make to either Joker or Batman, and it's very interesting. And also, we see the first of many references to Kieran being a bookworm. So
Yes. Also, he's just really handsome in this thing. And I know we've been pointing that out basically every panel, but him just reaching out. What woman wouldn't take his hand?
Honestly, like dapper. In one word, dapper. All right, so she takes his hand and then they start walking off together and it kind of fades to gold around them. And then all she says is, I sure hope he's a fine dancer. And I have a sneaking suspicion that he is.
That graceful man, for sure.
Yes. And then that is the conclusion of this episode.
The creator's note is, in the last panel of the storyboard I wrote, and they list happily ever after in the end. Editor, so this is where the tetanus finally got him. It is a happily ever after panel.
It is. It looks like they're going into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
To live and love forever.
Yes.
Off hand in hand. Oh, how I wish the series could end like that.
We can only hope that we get some form of a happy ending, or at least a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
Or at least not a completely horrible, tragic ending.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't feel to just be crying in a corner or staring at a wall after I finish reading this.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I'd say the best we can hope for at this point is just bittersweet. Bittersweet.
Yep. Same. Some people will die. Some horrible things will happen, but somebody will be left alive to tell the tale.
Yeah.
No, my one hope is that Lauren isn't just the last person left and everyone else has died.
No.
And she's just it's just the end of her like sitting there at their graves, just like kind of like, I'm so sorry.
No, refuse. Absolutely refuse to accept this.
No.
I don't hear anything you were saying, Bundin. I'm sorry. Not Bundin. Firedancer. I'm sorry.
Then the final panel is just her getting on a train and leaving the city forever.
No.
We've had so many theories about how the series is gonna end. It's just like, I just want happiness. I am an optimistic person by nature. I know I won't get everything. Can I please have Lockie? I'll adopt. Like, can I please have it? I'll give you money. I don't have a lot, but I'll give you money.
Let's bribe 𝗪𝗹𝗹𝗃. Let's fundraise.
If you want a Nintendo Switch, I have one of those.
I can bribe you with food. Would you like food?
I can give my phone. Do you want my phone?
Here, take mine. It has the phone. It has your phone case.
I have your hoodie on. I'm giving you my money. Do you want me to buy more merch? I'll buy more merch.
I'll buy out your whole store.
I do not have merch, but do not construe that as a sign of my disloyalty. I just don't like stuff, and I have stuff already. So.
That's respectable.
You
have a lot. I'm kind of a hoarder, so
same.
I maybe was a hoarder until I had to clean everything, and now I am sick of things. Anyway, but that's not relevant to this podcast. But so I'm trying to think. I like to end off with something like interesting. So like maybe either like sometimes, what's the one word that this episode thinks of, or for that we just recorded an episode right before, and we actually did like crack theories for the episode before because it was Lady A and it was like some crazy stuff. So we came up with really funny ones. So do you want to come up with like crack scenarios of what's going to happen next as to conclude this episode?
Like say next wise as in like next few episodes, like crack.
Yeah, I mean we know what's going to happen, but like just make something up.
Ooh, okay. Let's see.
Maybe they get drunk and realize that they're in love, and they do actually go and run off into the sunset. They just abandon the plot.
Yes.
And just go. They go to some other city, some other country, and everybody's just there like, what? And then the whole plot here changes, and they're just there living in their like little beachside cottage or something, just chilling, being like, remember when we were trying to solve that murder? Like, remember trying to like stop crime and stuff? That was wild. Remember when you were a murderer?
Turns into like a cute contemporary story where it's just wholesome all the
There's a
time.
fisherman on the sea.
The fisherman.
Blueberry pancakes for breakfast.
Yes. Yes. Cherry cheesecake for dinner.
Yum. Oh, the cherry cheesecake. I forgot about that.
Cherry
God.
cheesecake.
You know
Aw.
what about that, Mindy?
Yeah, Mr. Rosenthal isn't that what he says he'll give them? Not that I should say it in this chapter, or maybe not.
Yes.
Wasn't that? Yeah.
It is.
Later.
It is. But then I think F said, I think someone asked what Kieran's favorite food was, and she just said cherry cheesecake.
Aw, I like cherry cheesecake too. Clearly, we're destined to be together.
Okay.
Yes. You say as your husband is in the other room.
No, he actually just came in. I muted for a second. He's literally right here now.
Oh my.
Oh,
He
hello.
knows. He knows.
You're talking about another man. I mean, I do that
Oh.
too with my boyfriend.
I mean, same.
I'm like, this is what I have to compare you to. Just want you to know that.
No, that's literally me with my
Well, he always
boyfriend
says
if he
like,
sees me simping.
Well, yeah, your boyfriend reads it too. Yes.
I know, my boyfriend reads it too, and he's just, anytime I start something, he's just like, I'll wait.
oh.
Respect.
My husband just makes fun of me for liking a murderer. Like, well,
Aw.
there are many good reasons. I try to explain it, but he just has none of it. I guess he'll be a good prosecutor, not a defender.
My
Aw.
boyfriend is just trying to be like, you know what's a ship that I ship? Lauren and Will. Let them fight me. Like, he does it as a joke, like 100%. And I've brought him on like the server a few times, and they're just like, what is wrong with you? And he's just
Wait,
like,
so other crack ships, yes, but Lauren and Will, no? Like a perfectly
No.
reasonable
like
ship.
Lauren and Will. Yeah, like Lauren and Will, they're just like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you ship that? I'm just like,
Like-
it's the childhood friends, what are you talking about? Like,
I swear.
Kieran and Herman, yes. Lauren and Will, no.
Like, I swear, like, we will ship literally any other person in PH except Lauren and Will, and I still don't understand it. Like, I understand it to a degree, but the amount of people that are just like, no, this is never to be touched. I'm just like, but like,
I think I know why. It's because I think F and Soph said this, but no, yeah, F, I think that when they did an interview, she was like, yeah, we were gonna maybe consider having Lauren and Will be a thing, but then we immediately decided that wasn't a good idea. And I think hearing that, everybody's just like, friendship only. And
yeah.
respect to like people who don't want to ship friends for the sake of shipping, because I kind of hate that as a trope, even though I'm very guilty of doing it myself. But that's just because the creators didn't realize that they had a ship on their hands. Lauren and Will is clearly just a platonic relationship that's built on just like years of like growing up together and stuff. And it's just like, it's like shipping siblings. I think it's kind of like that, like, which I know some people are into.
Oh.
But yeah, no. Also, they both have their respective ships that are superior. So
True, not. Yeah, because like I understand, because personally, I would never ship Lauren and Will, because personally, I love their platonic friendship too much. But I don't know. It's just, I just find it funny that that's the one thing the fandom won't touch. I don't know.
they've done so many other things. They shipped Belladonna and Tim Sagan.
Oh
They
dear.
did. Like we legitimately created a whole ass AU where it was like Tim and Bella hooked up, had a couple kids, one they named Bob.
What?
Not they. Okay. I had to explain this back like May last year. Basically, Bella gives birth and she wants to name the kid something respectable, like Damien or something, then passes out because she just gave birth. And then Tim just looks at the birth certificate and wrote Bob because it's short and easy and 3 letters like his name. And Bella wakes up, she's like, what the hell, Tim? Because their relationship is just like a toxic, like.
Why would they be together ever? Okay.
I mean,
Like,
why would they? It was the most cursed thing we did back in the day. Bella's sake content was just the worst.
It was like I remember back in the day that was the most cursed thing the fandom had produced, and like
Oh, how times change.
How times have changed. But yeah, it was a whole thing, and it was cursed. It was cursed.
Very, very cursed.
Well, I don't know. I think, do you want to come up with another curse theory for what's going to crack a future dancer thing, or have we had enough craziness for today?
Let's see. Sorry, I'm so bad at coming up with crack scenarios. But
There needs to be a
I
lot
have
of
one.
chaos. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so they're gonna go to the club and they're gonna dance, and they're gonna be so good that there's gonna be like a Dancing with the Stars 𝗏𝗏𝗡 version judge in the audience, and he's gonna be like, you come, you compete on the show, and they're gonna be like, but then they can't stop because everyone's like looking at them, and you know, 𝗪𝗏𝗡𝗃 is also a judge, so they're like, well, this is a good way to get to 𝗪𝗏𝗡𝗃. So they decide to compete, and they do very well, and they win, and they find out that the leader has been operating the Phantom Scythe through this dance competition and using it as a front, and they win the competition, and they get to meet they get a prize, and the prize is the main dancer of 𝗏𝗏𝗃 dancing for them, and they discover he's the leader, and they kill him. That's my
That's amazing. I would pay to see that version.
I would pay money to see that.
I'm like, I used to watch Dancing with the Stars a lot when I was younger, so I'm just hearing the theme song in my head. It's just like da 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 da. And it's just them like doing like the poses and stuff. It's like dancing the tango. It's Lauren Sinclair and Kieran White.
Dude, I just imagine them doing a whole like 20s themed routine where it's just like them doing like the Charleston or something. Or the swing dance. That would be so entertaining.
The Lindy Hop.
Mm-hmm.
And then the judge is like 10. And then the last judge is like the 10, and then Lauren's like, that's him, pulls out the gun.
Pulls out Glock under like on the strap to her leg, just like, all right, bud. It's I don't know.
Kieran has his like knife his sword hidden in that cane. He just yeets it.
Oh.
Like that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where Will like yeets the sword, except it hits the leader and he dies. Yes. Oh, that would be a perfect story. 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah. Oh, yo, okay, I have one where it's okay. So they go to the club. Ansel hasn't arrived yet, so they're just dancing and then drinking casually. And then what happens is Ansel takes so freaking long to get there. They have just kept drinking, and then what happens is Kieran gets too drunk. He starts dancing on the counter, and then Lauren tries to get him down. But what ends up happening is the shitstorm starts happening right as Ansel starts walking in the door. So they are incoherent. What happens is he goes to sit down. Kieran's dancing on the tabletop. Lauren's trying to get him down. And in the process, since she's wearing heels and on a marble countertop, she ends up slipping and falling right into Harry Anslow, therefore putting him into a permanent coma.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm picturing them like, you ever seen that movie 27 Dresses with Katherine Heigl? There's a scene where they're like dancing on top of the bar singing Benny and the Jets. I'm just picturing that. Like, or like Kieran singing like ABBA or something on the table. Just like, Mamma Mia.
Here I go again. Meanwhile, Lauren, please, no.
Oh, yes. He'll be dramatic no matter what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was fun. Good
That was
cracks.
very fun.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks so much for doing the podcast and for being creative at the end. And
It's been fun.
I appreciate it.
Simping is always welcome in my household. So
Awesome.
Yes, and as always, thank you for having us.
yes, thank you.
Pleasure. Yeah. Well, I'll see you all again later.
All right.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.